You can announce that we're starting the meeting and then we'll walk through the agenda items. We don't have a quorum, so we'll have to skip the minutes approval for now.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, we're going to start the meeting if everyone's good with that. So everyone should have a copy of the agenda. And so we're going to skip the approval of the minutes. So next would be an update on the Heritage Tree and Tree Awards. I do not have that prepared myself. I believe that would be Tom, right, Haley?
Yes, I can share. We have one more application.
Great.
But we have reviewed all other applications.
Is the new application mine?
Yes, the new application is, oh, yours, Fellowship.
So excited.
That's the only update I have on the program.
Okay, great. Strategic Planning Committee updates. Do we not want to go through this because we want a quorum, or do you want to kind of go through this anyway?
I will leave that up to you.
You know, unfortunately, I can't quite see everyone that's here. Kathy, are you here?
No. Kathy is not here.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'd say let's skip that and go to Isabel's update. Isabel, would you like to?
Yeah, so we have just come off of a really successful and exciting evening. The Alliance for Cape Fear Trees recently put out 2 position statements. We're really flexing our muscles with advocacy. So the first position statement was in regards to Independence Boulevard 3990, the former Flossie Bryan farmland. So we are essentially just advocating for the preservation and conservation of that land for education, research, and gosh, why am I blanking on the other thing? Research, education, recreation. So in any case, there was a resolution brought forward last night by Councilmember Andrews, which passed unanimously after there was a big PR advocacy push. Laura did a lot there to get folks in the room, advocates wearing red. It was a slew of red. I think the council really saw that the preservation of green spaces is important to those they serve. So that was really exciting. The second position statement that we put out.
The thing is, Celeste specifically asked Isabel to introduce it by reading our position statement. So it's in the record for the city council meeting for last night. So we're very humbled and grateful.
Yeah, well, I don't want to brag too much.
Well, you did a great job.
Excited, so
articulate, you know. I mean, she's got it in front of her, and
I was so honored, honestly. I came home beforehand and was like dancing around my living room. Caitlin was like, calm down. You're presenting at city council.
Where exactly is the location?
Gosh, it's Laura, you're probably,
I'll pull it up on a map.
Oh, good, thank you. So in any case, so that is trying to preserve that 60-acre tract of land. The second position statement we put out was in regards to House Bill 24. So House in the North Carolina House of Representatives. So Senate Bill 382 last year took away some of the, and I'm going to dumb this down, the planners in the room can pipe up if I get this in too much layman's terms, but essentially Senate Bill 382 took away some of local municipalities' ability to pass tree ordinances that would balance development and tree preservation. So House Bill 24 is just trying to right this wrong. I think in Senate Bill 382, they slipped it in with Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. So it was really sneaky. So we are trying to get that bill out of committee and onto the House floor for vote. You'll be hearing more about that advocacy effort I would say in the coming week or so. We really were just focusing on 3990 because of the city council vote coming up.
I would say that this was in response to Catherine Thurston bringing this to our attention. She shared at the community meeting on January 15th that we conducted, you know, about the constraints on city government, on the decisions you can make that are either come down from federal or come down from the state. And she specifically brought up the taking away of the town zoning in Senate 382, which is one of the reasons why we decided to take a position on it. And now Isabel has shared, you know, our learnings on this and our position with the North Carolina Urban Forestry Council, because our counterparts, our nonprofit group counterparts in places like Durham and Asheville were unaware of this. And so we're hoping that they'll do the same thing with their elected officials, their General Assembly representatives, to let people know that, we want this right to make decision-making reinstated back at the municipal level.
Yeah, so we're really proud of that. We also had a street tree planting of 54 trees in downtown Wilmington and Sunset Park. So that went off without a hitch this past Saturday. I was really proud of that effort. We tried a couple new techniques with volunteers and the mapping, and it all seems to have gone well. So I think that's it. Laura, am I forgetting anything? I think that's roundabouts all we're up to right now. We are, exiting the planting season. So, we're, we can readjust and focus on plant care.
I'd really like us to pick up the tech standards again. Do you guys know where those are? You don't? You do?
So I guess I'll share that the person who was dedicated to the update is no longer here. So it's been somewhat slowed down based on staff capacity. So I think I would just want you to know that it's not that we're keeping the public in the dark. It's just that we're sort of at more of a snail's pace right now than we were.
We were waiting for chapter 7, landscaping to drop, and I know you've seen it, right?
No.
But it hasn't been, oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, I didn't even realize that. Okay. All right. Well, we are eagerly awaiting the opportunity.
Meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right,
Okay,
good to know.
cool.
Thank you, Sally.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I guess during planting season, we can focus a little bit more on advocacy, that sort of thing. So anyway.
Oh, and I was just going to say, Isabel, I sent you an email like right before this meeting with that form that we talked about.
I saw it.
So,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
So sorry about that. It's been a heck of a week in our household, but yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that, or if you want to add anything.
Sounds good, Bridget. Hi,
Great.
Tom.
Oh, hey, there's Tom.
Those donuts for us?
Well, hey, Tom, I had kind of taken over for a second. So I'll just keep going if you want to stay in. All right. So going on to new business, we have the Wilmington 101 and the Ollie presentation recap. So actually, Tom walked in at the perfect time for that. Sally, you're here, right?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
there you are. Sorry, the camera's kind of pointed a little up, so I'm kind of catching half the faces. But do you want to talk about the Wilmington 101, pal?
I'll just kind of introduce it, but I'd love for you and Isabel to just talk about your experience there. So Wilmington 101 is a public opportunity that the city's been putting on, basically providing educational opportunities about all of the services and departments in the city. And the focus for this particular Wilmington 101 was urban trees and the natural environment. And so we had this lovely panel, including local advocates and experts. So Bridget was there from the Tree Commission. Isabel was there from ACFT. Erin Reese was there, our city arborist. And who was the other person? If you're Riverwalk. Burdett.
Yeah.
Burdett, the riverkeeper. Yes. Do you want to just talk a little bit about your experience, Bridget?
Sure. I wasn't sure what to expect going in. I love the idea of the program. I'm very psyched that exists. But yeah, I mean, I think that my one takeaway was like, you can prep all you want, but really it's going to depend on the room and how many questions you get through. And, I was sitting with experts who really know what they're talking about. So hopefully I didn't talk too much is kind of my takeaway. It was a really interesting group of people. It was a great way to spend the morning. Isabel, how about you?
It was a great way to spend the morning. I am also jazzed that Wilmington 101 exists. I think one of the reasons why when I moved here, decided to stay was because I was a reporter at the time. And so I kind of had my hands in all of what Wilmington was doing, and that made me feel connected to place. And so I sort of see that as kind of similar, right? Like you're giving people this bird's eye view of everything, like this greater understanding of the city. And that's how you get really effective citizens. So I thought I also was very heartened by it overall. And it was fun to answer the questions. Folks had really great questions. And I'm excited that there is an interest in getting involved in our government.
I mean,
I think
they loved it, and it flew by, and we ran out of time. I think we could have gone twice as long.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say my biggest takeaway was we should have literature. Like I felt like, you know, the main
Mm.
thing that people latched on with what I said was the Heritage Tree Program. We should have the flyer that we put together like handy to pass that out. So Haley, do we have printed copies of those already?
Yes.
All right. So I might want to, if you have them, I should grab some before the Friday event. Oh, yeah, I can see Tom holding it in his hand.
Here we are. Beautiful.
Yep,
I
got
can-
Wilmington Tree Commission brochure right here, which I brought from our Ollie presentation, so, yes.
Awesome.
Sure.
I can bring the box of them to the Arbor Day planting.
Yes.
Awesome. Great.
This is nice.
So, yeah, that was Wilmington 101. So Tom, how was the Ollie presentation?
Well, the Ollie presentation was very well attended, and I thought it went very well. We didn't get, no tomatoes were thrown at us, so. So everything was fine. I thought the questions were very good. So there weren't very many tough questions, thank the Lord. And, but yeah, I thought it went very well, and I thought we got the information out there, and I think people were very receptive to it, so. Haley, any comments since you were in the, in the meeting or?
I think it went very well. I think people are very curious to see more about what the tree commission does in our program.
Yes, yep. So, and then the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees is also there. I don't know if they wanted to have any input on that, Laura, or?
Oh, I think it went really well. I had hoped to get some emails from some folks afterwards, though, because I put my email prominently up there, and I will report that I have not. So, as that as a metric, I have the sense that the folks that sign up for these Ollie things, because that's called, it used to be called C and coffee, and now I think it's just called C because half the people call in. So there's no coffee involved unless you're at home in your jammies, drinking your coffee like Bridget is right now. I think a lot of it was intellectual curiosity more than, hey, we want to get involved in this. So we'll see, all visibility is good as far as I'm concerned. So,
Great.
but the questions were good.
I would love to see the presentation. If Haley, if you could include a link to it in like the next agenda or something, that would just to page through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is everything all together now in one, or do we have to send her two, yours
They're
and then
still
ours?
separate, but I can combine them.
Or Isabel can send ours.
Yeah, I was pulling that up. So I just looked at this. One quick note. We no longer do the Legacy
I
Tree
know.
program. Dang it. Well, we're gonna still have people asking about it, and I'm still gonna have to. It's such an awkward thing to say no to. There's just be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, these are pre-legacy tree programs.
Sure, I hear.
And then as you can see, they're 2024 programs, so not 2025 programs.
Yeah, for sure. I just.
So the next printing we'll definitely remove it.
All right, Tom, do you want to take the agenda back over? We've got the Arbor Day planning.
So the Arbor Day planning is scheduled for this Friday at 2:15. Aaron will be there earlier. They'll dig the hole with the spade, and then they'll have everything ready to go and plant at 2:15. So, I think anybody from City Council going to be there? Or?
Yes, the mayor will be there, and so will Celeste Andrews.
Oh, okay, great.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So you're all welcome to be there 2:15 on Friday
At Hoggart.
at Hoggart High School, and it's right in front of the building. So front part of the building.
Okay.
It's close to is it Shipyard?
Yeah.
Shipyard. Yes. There's an island between Shipyard and the school, and they're gonna do.
Oh, that's into the senior center. That entrance. That was
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's there at the senior center?
No.
No, it's.
No, the main.
Well, if you go into the senior center entrance and you take a left,
Oh, okay.
it's on the left side. So
Okay.
yes.
With that big rock the kids paint.
Oh, it's gonna be
every
near
year.
the big rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
do you have a picture of the area?
I do.
So, uh,
Yeah.
so right out front. So on the right there is the road into the senior center. So it's, but I would say, I don't know if there's parking over there. So, Haley, where did you park when you,
I parked in the visitor spots over here, but there's very few.
okay,
So that's definitely a question for Kathy of where they would like us to park.
gotcha.
So where's it? Okay, so planting.
The planting is right here.
I guess I would assume you'd go straight through and park where the
Over here.
students park up there in that very upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
And there's always the crosswalk there where you park at Longleaf Mall and.
Yep.
And wait the 10 minutes to get across.
And walk on across.
So, yeah.
It's the longest light on planet Earth.
So that's,
So
Yeah, I have
Tom,
to
would
work.
would you recommend I get there at 1:30, or how early can I show up at 2? What do you think the prep is?
I would get there about 15 minutes early. That should be fine, be my recommendation. Yeah, that should be enough time to get everything prepped and ready to go. I will not be attending. I have another engagement, so. Yes.
Is Bill Sappho introducing me? Is that what's happening here? Shouldn't it be the other way around?
Yeah, I would,
We were gonna have him kick off with the history of Arbor Day, but we can absolutely switch them.
I mean, if
Well-
you think it's best that way, I'm fine with it. I was just laughing at the order, so I'm good with it.
Typically, the mayor should go first, so he'll kick us off and talk about Arbor Day and then a little bit about the tree commission, and then we'll hand it over to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. So any other questions on Arbor Day? Thank you for,
So are we going to be represented? I mean, I'm doing taxes on Friday.
I hear you. I'll be there.
You will. Okay, I will send an email out to the citizen advocates distribution and let them know. Hopefully we can get a couple of them to show up as well.
Okay, great.
so the interesting thing about this is the tree actually is an existing tree that's over at the old Honda Center right next to the old Kmart on College Road. So there's ginkgos that were planted over there that they've been given back to the city, and the city's gonna spade them out and then move one over to the Hoggard High School. So
Where are the others going?
I'm not sure.
Different locations.
Yeah, they have different
We already
locations.
Had a list of this.
Yeah, they had a list of places.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to ask this question about brokering relocation of trees rather than getting
Oh,
it
yeah.
down. I get it. City can't get involved in this, all of a sudden you're doing this, right? But it piqued my interest when I realized that this could be an incentive for developers to spade the trees instead of cutting them down if we can help them find a home for them. I'm thinking specifically Dave Spatrino at Midtown and Main because he brought it up. And he said, look, I priced it and spading isn't as expensive as I thought it was. He offered him to Empty Park because that's so close to Midtown and Main. And the feedback was not in the budget. We can't afford it. And I just find that so incredibly frustrating, right? It's just an incentive for the developers to just cut the trees down, right? Because if he spades it and it gets relocated, he doesn't have to pay the mitigation fee because that tree's being relocated. So, if y'all say, the city's already saying we have to enforce the rules, we get it that this is a problem. Maybe we in the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees have an opportunity to do some brokering, but my question is there a role for the Wilmington Tree Commission on that as well? Because I'm not quite sure how to get started on this other than throwing it out there in our social media somehow.
Sounds like new business.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Well, I mean,
Put it down on the list to look at later.
yeah, no, that's a good point, Laura. And yeah, anything we can do to help preserve trees within Wilmington, I think should be our focus. So, if there's things we can do in order to do that, I think that's something we should talk about. So, but no, thank you. All right. Anything else? Are we still gonna have MLK planting or for Small Arbor Day?
We did discuss it. We have not confirmed. That is up to.
Okay.
It's location.
Oh, you did.
Because we confirmed that is a. Planting.
Yes, it's acceptable. I mean, I think from the city's perspective, we are not sure why we need two Arbor Day celebrations. But if our celebrations, then MLK would be a fine location.
All right. I didn't know. Anytime we get an opportunity to plant a tree, let's plant a tree.
Too late. It's past planting season. That's why North Carolina has its own Arbor Day, because
Yes.
Nashville is too late, right?
That's right.
Can we go celebrate something we already planted?
Sure. But, well, I mean, if Aaron needs another relocation for the ginkgo tree, I mean. But yeah, what is I mean, obviously, what do we feel about doing two Arbor Day celebrations? Any comments?
I mean, I'm always down to do two. I think two is better than one. Depends on how hard it is to get it set up.
I mean, most of the work is done by Aaron, so the big question is, he's the one who does all the work. So the question is how do we want to? Is Aaron amenable to doing a second Arbor Day, and does he have the resources? So should we ask Aaron?
Well, we've already agreed to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've agreed to do it.
All right. So, but yeah, I just heard that the city had a question, why do we want to do two? So, but I was, to the commission here, is everybody okay with doing two, or do you want to just do one?
More the merrier.
Yeah, two.
Okay, so it's unanimous. We're gonna do Martin Luther King on the third Friday of April. And then if Alliance for Cape Fear Trees wants to be part of that, that'd be fantastic too. And we'll just have a little bit, we'll have similar talk, but we won't invite the city council members, or do you think we should, or?
That is up to you all. I'm happy to invite them, but.
Okay. For the people who missed them. First
Just a
one.
heads up, I'm out of town that day, just so you know.
I'm not, so I'll take your place. So,
So the 18th.
yeah, the 18th is National Arbor Day.
Oh, I have the 25th in my calendar.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, let's call it up.
It's a cheap calendar. It could be wrong.
Is that April 18th? Good Friday.
Fourth Friday.
That's Good Friday.
City's not open Good Friday.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Let's see what is on Arbor Day here. $25. I type right. Oh, yeah, Arbor Day will be celebrated on April 25th, 2025, which is the last Friday in April. So you're right. So it's the 25th of April. Bridget, you're gonna be out of town on the 25th?
No, I will absolutely be here on the 25th.
Okay. All right. Well, let's have a tree planting celebration on the 25th.
Great.
And thank you, city, for indulging us. All right. The next item on the agenda is the commission workshop. Before we do that, is there any other new business or?
Not approved the minutes yet.
Oh, okay, we didn't approve the minutes.
Did you get a quorum when you walked in the door?
Yes.
Oh.
All right, so does anybody have any questions on the minutes? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes, let's.
Okay, motion to approve minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Great. All right, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved. All right. And Bailey, did you mention that we did get a heritage tree nomination? Okay. So that's Isabel's.
Send me update.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Isabel's tree. We did get your nomination.
A really good treat. A really good treat. Pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right.
When are you gonna, when will you look at it?
We'll email you to schedule. God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The reason for it is that I am, it's a house of mine and I've since moved away. My mom was living it, but I'm trying to sell it.
Okay.
And so I just want, like, I'm terrified that someone's gonna cut the tree down. So I was hoping by giving it a status, like, sacred, don't touch it.
So when do you think we could, want to schedule next couple of weeks or?
Should have been done.
Yep.
Commissioner availability.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I can send out emails after this meeting. Thanks.
Yep.
Which slide would you like to?
We'll do that one. All right. Good.
Yes.
All right, cool. So we're gonna pick back up where we left last time, as hopefully most of you remember. Last time we had small groups identify the challenges that the tree commission and the city as a whole facing relative to preserving the urban tree canopy and identifying opportunities that the tree commission and the city can capitalize on them. And I think that said 15 minutes and 15 minutes, we got condensed a little bit on time right at the end of the meeting last time, but this is where we left it. So what Haley did, not me to be clear, this was Haley, was take what we learned, what we wrote down on the big sticky notes and combined it with what had been listed the last time we did this exercise in 2022 that was not identified as one of the top 3 priorities last time. So I have that said that correctly, right?
Yes, I did include the ones that were priority.
Oh, okay. So all 10 of the ones from last time are included in here. So under challenges, this very interesting font that ended up as. Community education, resource commitments, and tree ordinance administration and enforcement should all look pretty familiar. We also have on here dealing with rapid growth, and then the role of the city, and I think by extension, the role of the tree commission, attitudes towards tree removal, the 17th Street canopy, tree commission operations.
This meeting is
Tree maintenance, and then other, which includes limited info to support tree growth, the historic dynamic, and the lack of diverse tree species. Those are all the challenges that have been identified. So if we then move on to opportunities, community education, resource commitments, and tree ordinance administration and enforcement, again, should all look very familiar. Other opportunities, partnerships, species diversity, the urban forestry master plan, proactive tree planting and relocation, tree maintenance, tree commission operations, and again, other. The opportunity for existing senior staff to teach new staff and people moving / growth. So from that, now we are going to identify the priorities of this group. So you are going to get 3 green dots for challenges and 3 green dots for opportunities. And you put your dots next to the ones that you feel are the most important and the most actionable for the tree commission to tackle over the next few years.
So it's the little ones with slashes in front of them,
Yes.
not the total header above the.
Right. Any of the individual lines.
Three of those, three.
We're gonna get up, do some moving around. I'm gonna try to help.
Specific to the Wilmington Tree Commission.
This is specific to the tree commission
So how do you want to do them online?
or online.
Yeah, if you guys will, this presentation is in the drive. If you will in the chat, share your top 3 for challenges and your top 3 opportunities.
And then you'll put their stickers up there.
I will. And I have when we do group work and have discussion, we'll put you on a computer so you can actually have a conversation in the room.
Okay. So. We probably should have done these beforehand. That's my fault, but, okay.
You're just tearing them into 3.
Yeah.
So
It's 6. So there's your.
And we asking to do challenges first and then opportunities?
Thank you. We can do them at the same time.
Okay, all right.
Do 3 per poster.
Yeah. So your top 3 on each group.
I love doing this.
I do too.
4.
Sorry.
It's so fun. It's like a little group project. I feel like I'm taken back. Yeah.
We're doing it too.
Yeah, I think we staff did last time.
More the merrier.
Yes, after is great to the right. And
Yeah, and is everyone online able to find the slides to look through? No? Okay.
No, I was looking around. I couldn't find them. Can you just put the link in the chat real quick?
Yes.
Thanks.
as this is called the Delphi method of how you do this work and how you prioritize things. I say my other day job, but it's a night job, but I teach a land use planning course at UNCW in the MPA program. And we did this in class on how to improve the building that our class was in. And they said more windows and a AC system that actually worked. So for challenges, the most voted for category was community education, specifically public awareness generally and awareness of the tree commission, the need for the tree commission and for trees more broadly. That's the number one answer. Does that sound good to everybody? Make sense? Next, we have, make sure I got it right, tree ordinance administration and enforcement. And we have 5 dots all on the general line, but none on any specific one. So is there any additional color to that anyone would like to add? Or are we just good with the code is not specific enough, how to monitor code violations and no repercussions all being important? See in a couple nods.
Well, I would say that, there is code out there, but I think that the code needs to be and stronger. But then the other thing is that we currently have a code out there, but we don't know how well it's enforced. So, if we make a code stronger and we don't have enforcement, there's no sense in making a code stronger unless we enforce what our current code is.
Mhm.
That's my thoughts.
So another way to put that might be that it's just recognizing the overall importance of the tree ordinances to the Wilmington Tree Commission and what it's trying to accomplish.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Those are the top 2. That's the easy part. Now, we have 3 that are tied with 4 votes apiece. So tree maintenance, we've got 3 votes just generally for tree maintenance and 1 specifically on existing tree-related risks and hazards. We have 4 under role of the city, all 4 being under council support. And we have 4 under attitudes, 3 on developer attitudes towards trees and removal and 1 towards no business buy-in. So
Do we have to come up with 3?
for the next part of activity to work, yes, we do. for the purposes of the tree, I mean, really, there's probably ways in which some of those could be combined into three.
Well, they can influence the next step around how you define what you're going to work on.
So to me, that's up to the tree commission. Whether or not we'd like to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask a question about the second one. So, with tree ordinance code and enforcement, that is obviously something we care about with educating people about it. But Tom, when you talked about like the enforcement part, are you talking about the commission actually like trying to track enforcement? Or because I think that if we're talking about like what our three biggest challenges are, is that something that even falls under our purview as a citizen panel, right? Like, we were talking about awareness and education about it, which is kind of rolls into the first one.
Not sure that that's my place to answer here.
Yeah, Bridget, that's a good point. I mean, obviously enforcement is not something that the Wilmington Tree Commission can do. What we can do is make awareness to council or people who do enforce it that here are some areas that need to be addressed. So the question becomes, is that more awareness or is that
pressure?
Yeah, because obviously enforcement isn't something that's within our purview, so to speak.
It strikes me as one of your report card score areas, though. I mean, how does Wilmington's tree ordinances compare to Charlotte, to Durham? I'm thinking about talking to people in some of these other communities around, is enforcement simply reactive based on calls from homeowners, or is there a proactive enforcement? You got Keith Aaron in the Mecklenburg County nearby area who, he monitors, and if he finds a landscape plan not being enforced on a new development because the burlap wasn't removed before they were planted, he cites the builder or the current property owner and says, you have to restore that because that landscaping plan is in perpetuity and you're now in violation. And so Wilmington Tree Commission's role is to, have an honest assessment of how Wilmington is doing against our urban forest master plan and the quality of our tree ordinances, whether they're in alignment with that, right? I mean,
Yep.
That's one way I would approach it.
A better way to define that is like the what we're really doing is we need to focus on like accountability instead of enforcement. I think accountability would be a better term for that. Because right, we're supposed to be the one saying, okay, we're holding you accountable. Let's compare you to this. Let's see. What do you guys think about that phrase? Like that enforcement feels very much like it's out of our purview, but accountability does feel like it is.
I like that.
I agree with you on that. I mean, accountability, that's definitely, but it's also accountability and awareness too. So, I mean, I would say that, if we're not aware of it, we can't hold people accountable.
Yep, agree. Sorry, you can keep going. I just wanted to talk about that second one for a minute.
From
Totally fine.
All right, so the three again that we need to decide on again are?
You have tree maintenance, the role of the city, and attitudes. And just a piece of advice, I feel like attitudes could probably fit into community education.
Correct. On maintenance, what's our thoughts on maintenance? Is that, I mean, we don't actually go out and maintain the trees. What is it that we're trying to accomplish here?
I think that kind of falls under accountability, right? Like,
Isn't that, that's another report card score thing that Wilmington Tree Commission would monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, accountability. That's a good word.
do you think maybe we could make one of our top three, like we might be able to condense a lot of this by saying like a top three challenge is having a scorecard that we're filling out, like creating a report card, or is that an opportunity?
It's an opportunity.
To me, that fits better as an opportunity. but it also would be a potential action item, which we haven't gotten to yet. Uh, To me, that's a potential action item under community education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also relatively popular over there as a foreshadowing.
Okay. So as far as tree maintenance, is that something we want to, what do we want to do with that? Do we want to put it, is that something we want to keep? Is there, or are the other two more important? And the other two are, what were the other two again? Sorry.
We have role of the city, which all of the votes for that were towards council support. And then attitudes.
I think the business buy-in one is important. Like encouraging business buy-in. I don't know if that just falls under the big buckets of awareness, but I think it's more about forging relationships. My thought on that.
All right. Well, what are we going to do? What's our next step? Anybody have any input? Anybody, any of the commission people?
See where they match up.
I think that's a good idea. Let's take a look at opportunities, see what we're working with there, and then maybe that'll help us think some.
Some of them are on both.
Yeah.
Yeah, city council's on both. So the top one is relocation versus removal.
Yeah, so under proactive tree planting and relocation versus removal is 5 votes, and then cut 1, plant 2 has 2 votes. For a total of 7, which is the highest grouping here under opportunities. We also have a lot of ties again. Because looks like I see 4 votes under community education. I see 4 under tree ordinance administration and enforcement. I see 4 under the urban forestry master plan. I see 5 under partnerships. So partnerships is number 2. Increasing council engagement and all city council members with strong support for trees.
I mean, that seems mostly related to partnership with city council rather than like.
So it's going to tie to the challenge under role of the
Right.
city.
Right.
So those are
Like a 1-for-1.
Under community education as opportunities, you have interaction with more groups, which also would come back over here under partnerships as well. Educating the public and getting involved in caring for trees and more frequent updates to the website. Under tree ordinance administration and enforcement, recommending updates to the code annually and improving guidance to urban planning. And then a new urban forestry master plan.
Supporting the new,
Oh,
not right.
Yeah.
okay, that just says new, so sorry.
At the time, it had just come out, so they were coming up with action items.
Gotcha.
2022, it was
Yeah.
new.
That's 2022.
Right.
Supporting.
I didn't want to rephrase their wording.
Okay.
All right, so under community education, educate the public and get involved in caring for trees. Well, I mean, I think that's one area that we're trying to increase the education of the public. As far as caring for trees, I think from a Wilmington Tree Commission perspective, we can, there's 2 ways to do that. Number one, Aaron's team is the one who actually cares for the Wilmington City trees, but also the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees also cares for the trees. So, and which is very beneficial, and thank you, Alliance for Cape Fear Trees, on that. So the other thing is does that mean to get more involved with the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees to help care for the trees, or is that get more involved with the city to help care for the trees?
If I may speak, boldly. I think that I think that we need to be investing in a public service via the city who has the greatest, I mean, our team of volunteers is relatively trained, but we are not arborists. And so I would love to see the city investing more in that.
So when we say get more involved, to what we're thinking there is to get, try to figure out how to get more support for trained arborists to maintain the trees. I would say that's what I'm hearing.
If I may, there's also educating people on how to care for their trees.
Right.
Because this is under community education, so it might not be on the ground
Right.
caring for the trees, but educating people how to help trees survive.
Right, or what trees to plant. Folks oftentimes just need a little bit of guidance. But I think that the community education is a really important point. I mean, it goes back to our community meeting, but further, when we do tree distributions, it is a lot of tree education during those events. We're not just giving folks trees and then being like, yeah, go plant it. So I think that's been, that is helpful, and it creates folks caring for trees in their own yards, which then puts less of a strain on the city and the Alliance.
No, that's a good point for Isabel and Haley. I would say it's more on the educational side and helping, focus on education of caring for trees. So, all right.
So am I hearing that we want to put the emphasis on community education as an opportunity then?
It's such a natural role for the tree commission.
Yes.
Your public outreach specific to tree education.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole tree planting list of trees is so fabulous.
It's so nice that I was having it listed as a challenge or listed as an opportunity.
Well, it would be listed as both. It was listed as both last time.
You want to talk about the end roll, like how these are going to go together?
I think you might be in a better position to talk about that.
Oh, we're going to select a true top 3 after looking at both. So we're not going to select 6 total goals. We'll select 3 looking at the overlap. So it sounds like they're already really overlapping.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily matter which list it's on right now, but we're identifying our top 3 in general.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, and I haven't heard from all the Wilmington Tree Commission, I think community education is probably one of our top priorities. But that's my opinion, and I'd like to hear from other people on the commission.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
Mhm. But then again, yeah. Mhm.
Bridget, did you also have a comment?
Oh, yeah, I was just agreeing that I do think most of it, I mean, I think I love that point about comparative accountability that we were talking about earlier. But I also think, like, to my point about giving residents a feeling of control just by understanding the code and understanding what it works. I feel like that is where we're actually most useful, of being the way for the citizens to interact with the tree code, ask questions about it, and then have a way for their concerns to be pushed to other people beyond us, right?
Yes.
So where does this leave us for our top 3 and opportunities then?
Can you think about who you're focused on, right? If you're looking at the public, this one is natural, right? So that's one interaction that you have. Now, and so this is Wilmington Tree Commission. So you're public outreach, but then there's, who else are you interacting with? So city councils, the city staff.
Yep.
So what might be the one that bubbles up when that's the focus? And is there a third?
Well, I think it's interesting if you were just, my head, when you start grouping it that way, sort of groups it into if we identify like first the audience for each opportunity and then which one. So if we were to say like, what's the opportunity for the public? What's the opportunity for the internal city relations? What's the opportunity for outside business buy-in? You know, and then figure out which of these opportunity ones like actually apply to that.
That's very well put. I mean, we have external focus, which is community education, internal focus, which is working within the city, and both, you know, the council and the staff here. And then we have the third, which is partnerships. And how do we then help to have partnerships, you know, help support both internal and external focuses.
Thank you.
Well, I think if we're talking about like the city one, I think that's where that comparative research, like we can't put pressure on city or anyone if we can't say like, hey, look at what these other cities are doing, look at what the rest of this is doing. So I think maybe that is much more of an internal, like, I think I saw it on there about dividing ourselves into committees, right? Like,
Yep.
we set a goal for that, like that feels like a very specific thing. Sorry, someone else was about to talk.
What is business buy-in? What is that?
So I keep saying that. What I mean by that is like, because somebody else mentioned it. I was just kind of repeating it from one of the comments. But so whoever wrote that, if you want to enumerate it, to me it means like, are we talking about, if we're talking about code, right, and enforcement of the code, and like giving developers an opportunity to say, do you want to relocate this tree, or do you have an issue that you want to try and work out with the city, right, or something like that? You need to be there in front of them and talking to them and like interacting with them. So it's a little bit different of an audience focus than just like public homeowners. Is how do we outreach to those people? I don't even know if that's whoever put that comment first. Do you want to take that over?
That comment was from the 2022 commission.
Oh, okay.
But I agree that was likely there.
I think that's definitely part of it. I will say that I voted for that one. So to me, and this is coming from some of what we've learned in the context of Greater Downtown Plan public engagement, but when I see buy-in, it's also painting the picture of like not just protecting trees for trees' sake, protecting trees as a placemaking tool, as an economic development tool, as all of these other things that
Green infrastructure.
like we were looking earlier this morning at, I went to Charleston about a month ago, and we were driving down 17 in between Murrells Inlet and Pawleys Island, Litchfield area, that's unincorporated, Georgetown County, South Carolina. And there is a food line that's tucked up into the woods, and there's all of these really expansive live oaks that are planted in every single island. And it looks like a tunnel driving through this parking lot. And saw it and looked it up, and we were looking at historic aerials from back when it was built, and they saved some trees, but they actually did clear cut most of that property. And that's planting, that's maintenance, but they clearly had to see the benefit 30 years ago of why planting these trees and taking care of them was important. And now that looks like it's a suburban style grocery store, big box, a big parking lot. But it looks like somewhere where you would go potentially hang out and want to be, as opposed to, well, I'm not going to name any names, but we know parking lots that look like that, or don't look like that around here, I should say.
The old Kmart.
And so thinking about it from like if you look at it greater downtown, like the more trees you have as you're walking down the street, the more likely you're going to want to spend time there.
Yeah.
More likely you're going to want
welcoming
to
it
dive
is.
into more businesses. That kind of stuff. So there's saving trees is a, worthy effort just on its own, but there's also all of these other benefits and painting that picture as well.
Gotcha.
Do we still have a quorum?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
Is Isabel a member of
No.
the tree? I didn't think so.
No, Alana is online, but given that she's typically preoccupied during meetings,
Speaking of that
we won't be voting on anything.
Kmart parking lot, you wouldn't have believed what it looked like before. There were some of the prettiest oak trees
Oh,
there.
please.
It was absolutely unbelievable. And not that long ago,
Yeah.
there was a really nice oak tree that was still along College Road, and
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know what happened to it. It just fell one day. Anybody remember that? Nobody? Okay. Wish I had pictures.
We need. What we've done a little bit, and I've heard some good stuff, but we're starting to get into some solutioning a little bit.
Okay.
So the next stage of this is to find our three kind of key features and start going through this action.
Does it have to be three? Do we have to have three action areas? It feels like we have two really natural action areas.
So you're proposing there be two.
Well, I mean, it just feels natural that we want to focus well, I'm not a member. That the Wilmington Tree Commission wants to focus externally to the public, increase education, increase engagement, and then focus internally on helping to enhance operations with the city, enforcement of education, and then enforcement of the Urban Forest Master Plan, which would include a report card of status and, you know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the number of goals is up to the commission. 3 just was a historical number.
I know.
It's approachable, but that is up to.
Aren't you supposed to plant in odd numbers?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. 5.
You are.
2 is bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
The commission would rather put all their eggs in just 2
I guess this is
baskets.
planting, isn't it? So
Okay.
you might be right.
I guess the last time we did this in 2022, the top three were community education, resource commitments, and tree ordinance administration and enforcement. And I'm hearing community education.
Yeah.
I'm hearing tree ordinance administration and enforcement and supporting the staffing effort to make things more powerful. I'm not hearing anything about, or not hearing nearly as much about resource commitments this time. So to Laura's point, I mean, she's right. If there's only 2 that we want to go after, it's up to the tree commission as to what we would like.
I think those 2 are going to break down into several action steps. I think they're really big buckets. I think 2 is fine to keep going.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, tree ordinance and enforcement and community education are, I would say community education should be our number 1 goal. And then that's my opinion. And that, you know, tree ordinance and enforcement is probably number 2, but I would say if we go back to my presentation to Ollie, that's what I'm looking up.
Oh, yeah, that's good for you.
The overview of functions. You have that slide, the overview of functions? So here is what our overview of functions of the Wilmington Tree Commission. Now, we can then, how do we then align this with what our strategic goals are? And a lot of this is network with other similar area groups regarding ongoing activities. Is that, what would that fall under? Maintain a list of tree needs of the city. I guess some of these things.
Some of these are really tactical.
Yeah.
Some of them are higher level, more strategic that would have tactical
Correct.
and steps under them, I would think.
Right. So the thing is based upon what we want to target, tree ordinance and enforcement. Well, which ones of those would fall under what? And then community education. I would say network with other similar area groups would help with community education, promoting professionalism, would be under ordinance and enforcement. We already have a urban forester arborist. And then but to the land use planning. Is that also community education or is that internal communication?
To me, that's internal.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, should we have one for community education, another one for internal support, or we have 3 goals, tree ordinance and enforcement, and then internal support, and then community education?
I do like the 3 goals for the 3 different voices that we talked about. I think that kind of keeps it clean.
Yep. So the 3 different voices would be what, Bridget, to your perspective?
The public, the city, and then partnerships.
Yep. Yeah, I would say I agree with you, unless anybody else has any points on that.
Okay.
No, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. In the interest of time, we are about 5 till 11. 7 till 11. We have these action area sheets that we had intended to fill out. I think this was good discussion. So in the interest of time, I think it might be worth putting together some of the information we learned, sending it back out to the commission, and then picking up with this to start off with next time.
Yep. Okay.
That'd be my recommendation. It's ultimately up to the commission.
I agree 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, could we send out the sheets ahead of time and have us fill it out ahead before the meeting? I only say that also because I can't be at the next meeting. So I would like to be able to fill it out and just send it to you guys, but that might save us some time.
Okay.
I think that works. So,
all right.
Again, I think this was very good discussion here, folks.
No, thank you for facilitating this. Really appreciate the help.
Well, obviously this helps the Alliance inform our areas of focus too. So we can complement this rather than duplicate.
Ellie, thanks for all your hard work on this.
No problem.
Sally, thanks for your support. So, Paul, meeting is adjourned. Any other comments, questions?
I have a question. Do we go to each? Is there someone from these?
Historically, I'm not aware of anybody going to each council meeting. But again, that's something that we can talk as.
Just because it talks about council supporting us.
Right.
And we're not going to get anywhere without their support, is my understanding.
Yep, correct.
So I had a brief conversation with Celeste Andrews about this, that she said the Wilmington Tree Commission isn't the only one. It would be lots of other commissions where the city council members appoint the members of those commissions, that each of those commissions should maybe once a year have, that they're on a city council agenda and they get up and they give a report. So that every commission has a city council member who is responsible for that particular appointed commission. Now, on paper, right now, that's Charlie Reisenbach for the Wilmington Tree Commission.
Correct.
So annual report is required.
Okay.
But typically in that report, we mention your next steps, your next goals.
Which is why
And
you're kind of reluctant to
Yes.
do it until this group.
Yes, once we get our goals defined, we will go and give our recap presentation. Here's what we've been working on and here's what we're working on in the future.
Okay, I was just curious.
So
Like an example yesterday, where I think you really saw a city council member who was very enthusiastic about something and wanted to put it on the agenda. It was Charlie Reichenbach, and he had had lunch with the guy in charge at the airport. And he was so impressed with their growth projections, their growth plans, what's going to be in place before 2026. He teed this up and introduced this guy. And I mean, they gave him 20 minutes probably.
Right.
And it was very in-depth and very detailed and included a video of the rendering of you driving up to the airport. I mean, I don't want to live there. It's too big of an airport, I think. But anyway, that was an example of a city councilman wanting his fellow city council members and the public who's attending the meeting or watching the video later to be informed about this very particular, this important subject area, the growth of our local airport. So I would see the same thing, that an enthusiastic city council member would tee it up at a meeting. I'm really excited to introduce Tom from the Wilmington Tree Commission, and they're going to give you an update on what they've been working on. And that would include and here's how the city's been doing. Look what's happened to the tree canopy percentage and diversity of species. And here's what we recommend. And here's what we need from you, city council, et cetera.
Sounds like Colette might be that person.
She seems interested. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but it's a really good question.
I'm just curious.
We did do Heritage Tree Awards last year, so I mean, in front of the city council, but we didn't do a yearly summary. So, and that's something that in all my time with the Wilmington Tree Commission, which is I think 3 or 4 years, we haven't never done a summary with the city council. So that's something that we need to get back onto the agenda and just say, here's where we're at. And
Right.
Yep.
When was the last time? So you say once a year you do,
That's the typical expectation.
yeah,
when was the last time? Do you know? Do you remember?
probably
No, I was not here.
pre-COVID, probably.
Yeah, so it's been way longer than a year.
Yeah.
A lot of rituals have to be reestablished now since COVID.
Well, I mean, the Heritage Tree Awards weren't done for 4 or 5 years because of COVID, and then they finally did it last year for the first time. So, yeah, so.
Stupid COVID.
I've got to run to a meeting, guys. It was nice to see everyone. And
Good seeing
see you next time. I'll see you on Friday. If you're there.
Yep.
Bye.
Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.